to you. This is Jamie Dukes with NFL Network.
Yes, good to be on. Appreciate you having me. It's my
Well, I'm a
first time with
Falcons
Skype.
fan, so I love you.
Ah,
So I'm really excited.
good.
Well, I wanted to start out by talking a little bit about your foundation because I heard an interesting fact the other day. They
Okay.
said that back in 1970, there was one player that weighed 300 pounds or more.
Right.
Last year, as training camp started,
hmm
there were 300, wait, maybe it's more than that, 532
hmm
players that weighed over 300 pounds.
Well, the thing is, the game has evolved and the game has changed. And I think that's what we have to look at, with everything. And part of that has to do with, if you think about it, just common sense is look at what we're putting in our poultry, chickens, the steroids, and, because we're growing things faster. And as all things, it's bigger and it's better. There is definitely what I consider an epidemic in the National Football League as far as obesity is concerned, just from the standpoint, it's not with the current players, it's with the retired players.
Right.
And my story has to do with the fact that, here I struggled with obesity in post retirement. I've had 7 teammates and counting right now who have died from what we call the diseases of excess weight, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, so on and so forth,
Wow.
the comorbidities. Reggie White died.
17.
Yeah, yeah. Reggie White died from complications of sleep apnea. Well, the reality was Reggie was 100 pounds or so overweight,
Right.
and because of that, that led to his death. So that's why my wife and I, Angela, we founded the Put Up Your Dukes Foundation, and our whole mission is to kind of help players and also help other people in general understand the issues that are going on with the diseases of excess weight.
How hard is it to modify your diet after you retire? Like, if you're used to eating a certain way,
That's it. And that's
because,
the problem. That's exactly the problem
yeah,
because I tell people, all the time, think of it this way. If I asked you to live on 60% of the oxygen that you normally live on every day,
right.
your body's going to have a reaction. Well, effectively, that's what's happening. As offensive linemen or football players, in a lot of cases, we were trained to gorge large amounts of food to maintain our body mass in post retirement, now all of a sudden you don't have the 6 or 8 hours to,
Right.
be able to change your diet and things of that nature. And so, or excuse me, the 6 or 8 hours to work out that you
Yeah.
normally would have. So now your wife's telling you get the kids, pick them up from school, and while you're at it, take them home. So
Right.
that's what changes, but your eating habits don't.
I hear some guys say that after they retire, they just stop working out altogether. I mean, like not even
Well,
a
a lot
half
of
an hour
times,
in the treadmill.
yeah,
Well,
but a
how
lot of
does
times,
that?
think about it. If
Yeah.
you've done, like, for example, I did just kind of a rough guesstimate. I've lifted over 2+ million pounds in my life. When you think about all the weight
Yeah.
training that I've done, stacking it up day in and day out. And truthfully, you just get tired when that's
Right.
all you've done is train, 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 train. Sometimes people hit a wall and they get tired. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality of, just the immense pressure that we're under to train and be at the top level.
Well, when you retire and you're not working out as much, or maybe not working out as all, are you still hungry? Or are you just sort of like
Sure.
used to? Yeah.
Sure,
Okay.
I mean that part of it doesn't
Like
change
me.
because
Yeah.
you've developed those habits. Going back to the analogy about the oxygen, you're going to crave the oxygen. If you're down all of a sudden now only using 60% of oxygen, your body is going to ask for the normal dosage that it's been getting all of your life.
But do you think that while guys are playing, and maybe this just depends on the guy, but is it hard to eat good calories and still get your weight up? You know what I mean? Because like it's easier to eat like let's say burgers and stuff like that because it's higher calorie and you can eat. But like let's say good fats and calories. Like, is it hard to
No,
have a
well,
healthy diet and still gain weight?
no, it's not. I mean, because the reality is, it's all about calories that your caloric intake.
Yeah.
Period. So, in other words, if you're consuming at large levels, and with this day and age, players are more in tune to their bodies because of what we know about
Right.
burgers as opposed to this, that, and the other. But still, the quantity is the quantity, and your body is craving the quantity. So I don't think it's as much, or haven't looked nearly as much at about the good ones as opposed to the bad ones. The reality is your body is craving these calories. And for me, one of the best things that happened to me was I have had bariatric surgery. Because everything I tried, the South Beach diet, Fort
Right.
Lauderdale diet, the I-4 diet, Orlando to Daytona diet. I mean, you name it, I did them all, and nothing
Right.
worked because my consumption levels were so high, and I was still working out, running, 4 or 5 miles a day, 5 days a week. But because I wasn't training at the levels that I was training before, incrementally, my weight just continued to go
To
up
go
and
up.
up and up. And so I found myself a biscuit over 400 pounds. So I needed to find the right tool that would help me. And so for me, it was the Realize band. And effectively, the way my band works is it basically took my stomach from the size of a football to the size of a golf ball. So the
Okay.
band, because of the clotting action, and you can look at realizeband.com to find more information out about that if that's what you're looking for. But effectively, what it did was I got that sensation in my brain because of the clotting action of the band that I was full. And that's
Oh,
what
okay.
allowed me to lose the weight. And so what I always tell people is I'm not advocating, surgery for everybody, but I'm saying if what you're doing is not working and you're morbidly obese, I got 7 teammates to tell you chances are you're going to have some kind of event that's not good. And I say 7 teammates because I know probably 30 or 40 guys who
Right.
died just recently. Orlando Brown, Zeus. Many of you remember him, the
Yeah.
guy who got hit with the pellet, the referee's pellet, hurt, and threw it and hit him in his eye.
I
He just died of complications from diabetes, but Zeus was over 400 pounds.
right.
Ken Hall, the center for the Buffalo Bills, just dropped last week, who was on all of those Bills teams with Jim Kelly
Yeah.
and that crew. So it continues to happen all over the place in players that you know. And the reality is it's generally heart related or excess weight related issues.
So what does your foundation do? How does it help the
Well,
players?
well, what we do, it's not just the players. Well, we, from the player perspective, we serve as an advocate. For example, we were able to advocate on behalf of players to add bariatric solutions to the menu of services for retired players. As
Oh,
in, for
wow.
example, they would replace your
Yeah.
hips and joints, because they know what the toll that it took on your body. But truthfully, they had no idea that, and the good thing about it was players got a chance to see me kind of melt away right on television. So they started sending me emails asking me, or
Right.
calling saying, "What did you do?" And that's when I told them. And so they're presenting with the same problems of whether I'm getting my knees replaced or my hips replaced, or maybe if I lost some weight,
You
50,
wouldn't
75
need
pounds,
right.
I wouldn't have to have the procedure.
Right.
So that's kind of how that happened. And so we've been working with Johnson and Johnson and the Player Care Foundation to kind of help add these services. And again, it wasn't because the NFL didn't want to do it; it's because truthfully that just wasn't something that they were looking at. And so for us bringing that to the attention, because you have the concussion issues that everybody's worrying about, and but the reality is I don't know anybody who's died from the concussion issue. Some would, but I know a lot of guys who are dying
Right.
from this weight issue. So that's kind of what we do from that perspective.
Okay, that makes sense because I mean the boom and the increase in guys who are bigger in the NFL really did happen kind of quickly. I mean,
Yeah.
like in a span of maybe like 20 years, which sounds like a long time, but it really isn't. Not
Yeah. Well,
really.
and the thing is, and what everything evolves. That's why I kind of started this thing. That's what was supposed to happen. The game is supposed to evolve. The biggest, the best, the strongest. That's why the NFL is the most exciting brand of
Right.
football in the world because it presents these gladiators, these mammoth
Yes.
gladiators with these super fast guys. And all of these things come together. Just going back to what they used to do in Rome.
Yeah.
So, this is the modern day version of what happens in the gladiator scenario.
Yeah, and guys just keep getting bigger and faster together. Like when I see somebody like Mario Williams, so I
Yeah.
think as well like 285, and he is so super fast.
Yep.
For linemen and for everybody, how much bigger can people get? Like, do you think it's gonna stop now, or what do you think?
I don't think it'll stop. I think it will continue
Man,
to evolve. I don't know how far because they thought before it wouldn't get bigger. I
yeah,
think it's have to
yeah,
continue to see. But keep in mind, these are the residual effects, in my opinion, and I'm not a doctor. These are the residual effects from what is happening with the foods that we're eating, the things that are being placed in the food. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I love my fried chicken. Okay, I love my
I was
chicken.
gonna ask you, do
You know what
you
I'm saying?
still
So
eat
so I'm not
meat
I'm
and
not
all that
saying that
stuff?
at all. Give me a big old time. Okay.
I
But
wasn't gonna take it from
that
you.
that that being said, excuse my phone's ringing here. That being said, um, the key here is
Yeah.
that because of the residual results of those things being added to our food, I think we'll continue to see some level of people getting bigger and bigger, stronger and faster, that kind of thing.
Yeah.